work for 8 hours. I'm just as tired as you, but that doesn't stop me from doing what I have to do.
Right. And when we make excuses for children and they hear it, that means, oh, next time I don't have to speak because my mama made an excuse. They may not know that that's what it is, an excuse. But if they say, oh, well, this is that and that, this is why they're not speaking.
Yep.
Then they know next time, oh, I don't have to do it.
Yes. And it's so bad with me. If my children go with someone else, like let's say somewhere and someone would be like, oh, I saw your daughter. She was with her auntie. The first thing out of my mouth, did she speak? Did she use her manners? Like that's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, because it shapes them for when they become older and for real life. So when they constantly hear you making excuses for yourself and then making excuses for them, it teaches them to make excuses for everything. And copping out of things, right? Yes. So like you said, you could have told your boss, well, I have 3 children, 4 children, 2 children. I can't come to work because I'm tired or whatever the case is. It is a decision you made and that's what you do. So now you're leading by example.
Yes.
So someone said to you, I saw your daughter and she did not speak, what happens after that? Let's just say that happened.
In my head, I'm saying that can't possibly be true. That's not a thing, and it's never happened. But I can say that if it was to happen, or if someone did say that, we're going to have a conversation about it.
Right.
So when you're at the field, you saw so-and-so, what happened?
Right. And then there are consequences.
Yes.
Right. Your children are involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. How do you manage that? So on top of working, earning the spa, schoolwork, your daughters are involved in dance, including Zara. So all 3 girls are involved in dance extensively. How does that work?
So it has been a challenge for a few years, but at the end of the day, I don't make excuses, right? I do what I have to do. So
because you signed them up for dance,
I did, and at one point we were living in Devonshire, so it was kind of convenient, drop them to dance, go home, do what I have to do,
town.
Right. And it was working out until we moved St. George's, and it's like, okay, if we go to St. George's, we're not coming back. So I've had to change a lot of things. So organization, we'll touch, I guess I was speaking about
that's
that.
where I was going to say, then that comes with a lot of organization, obviously, because if you're doing all of that, you can't just wing it.
Oh, I've never winged it.
I don't ever recall.
I have never winged it. I honestly can't wing it, but yes, having to deal with dance.
But hold on, let me, because I think we can spend a little bit of time on that, because I think parents look for ways to be organized. Yes. Parents need to know about structure. Some parents just honestly don't know about organization with their children, whether they have 1 or whether they have 8. They're looking for tips. So we're going to take a break and come back and finish or continue talking to Shantia, who is the mother of 4 and who is talking about parenting with a purpose here on Grown Folk Talk with Patrice. We'll be right back.
Hands-on therapy. Our mission is to provide a holistic approach to physiotherapy by treating the cause of your symptoms and taking into consideration all aspects of a patient's being. We aim to bring you the best quality care and best possible outcome with our passion and knowledge. Call 232-3244 or visit handsontherapy.com.
Are you looking for an event coordinator or filming crew for a live television broadcast? Search no more. Gino Crimson is at your service, specializing in international 3D graphics, event creative, and technical direction. We offer a product second to none. A combination of 2 well-known production companies, Gino Group and Crimson Multimedia, together bring more than 20 years of experience in production of local and international ad campaigns and television broadcast programming. Specializing in national, Gino Crimson is also known for the full production of the annual Sports Awards, Kappa Classics Live, live pay-per-view boxing events, the general and municipal elections, the Tea Talk Show, Cut Match Classic, and much more. Providing the best of the island's skilled production crew, we organize an amazing network of camera operators, directors, vision mixers, on-camera hosts, sports anchors, and beauty consultants, all while using the latest in production equipment for a high-quality live television broadcast. Gino Crimson. Our vision is to make your request a reality, and we would be happy to be a part of your next event.
This episode of Grown Folk Talk has been brought to you by the following sponsors. We would like to take this opportunity to say thank you. If you would like to support the show, please email or call 535-8829.
Welcome back to Grown Folk Talk with Patrice. I have been talking to my niece Shantia about parenting with a purpose. Now, you know I love you dearly. You're sounding like the perfect parent. Has parenting been perfect? Give me some non-perfect parenting stuff.
No, parenting definitely hasn't been perfect, and it hasn't been easy. You go through things. There was a period where I was by myself raising children. So that was a bit rough. But the hardest part for me out of parenting over the last 20 years, as you reminded me, was my last pregnancy. It put me in a spot where I can't say that I was depressed. I'm not a doctor, right? But I felt that I had reached a point where I was depressed. Look, I'm getting all emotional.
Oh my gracious! Here you go.
Oh gosh.
Here you go.
So
because you were 40 years old, you turned 40 and then had your baby shortly after.
2 weeks after.
2 weeks later, right? Yeah.
So
and you had a rough pregnancy.
It was horrible. Just thinking about it. And I heard it's funny because I have a coworker who mentioned to me the other day, I'm thinking about having a baby. And she's 40. My whole body shut down. Like, please don't do it. I tell her, everybody's different, right? But it was a bad pregnancy from start to finish. I'm still dealing with stuff now. Love my baby to death, but if I could turn the hands back, woo.
Well, no, don't turn the hands back.
No, bless her. But it was hard, and at the time, it was right at the start of COVID.
Yes,
so we went straight into COVID. We were stuck inside. I had to have permission to go to doctor's appointments. The regimen people are stopping me. Where are you going, ma'am? And I'm like, I'm just going to the doctor.
Right.
And it was bad. And on top of that, you go through, I'm dealing with every symptom possible that you could possibly deal with when you're pregnant. My emotions were on 100. I'm still dealing with 2 other children. School's out. We're on Zoom. I can't work because my back's messed up. I still have to get up to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it
right, because the children were home.
It was bad.
School. Right. So that was a rough patch, a dark period.
Exactly.
And most people went through a whole lot, but being pregnant, your emotions all over the place, and the children and at home and all of that. So That was
it was, believe it or not, out of all of these situations with my children, that was probably the worst.
Really?
It was, and I blame COVID, right? I do. I'll put the blame on COVID, but that was really a dark time for me.
So parenting through COVID was hard. Because a lot of adjustments had to be made. So how did you adjust to that? I mean, you said it was hard, but what did you have to do with your parenting style during COVID? Did it call more patience? Did it call more patience for everybody? But
definitely. But I think because I was pregnant and the emotions I was feeling, like I would lose it in a second, like just unnecessarily. And my significant other, bless him, he really, really helped me through that spot. So
right.
I was able to.
Well, so you had support So parenting, as I said at the beginning of the show, parenting comes with its own set of challenges. Parenting is not easy. So with that being said, parents have to be as organized as possible. So from what I remember, you've always been a pretty organized person, even before having children.
Correct.
You were very methodical. You've always been very methodical. You've always had things in place. If you're going somewhere, everything's ready and all of that. You're never late.
No, I thank my job for that.
I mean, a family function, we guarantee who's there first with the 4 children. The one with the most children
and lives the farthest
will be there first.
That's right.
That comes through organization, right?
Yes.
And so, like, how do you keep your children organized? Like, how do you keep up from day to day?
So, it's a school night. Like, if it was school tomorrow, me sitting here right now probably wouldn't be
hyperventilating.
No, seriously, what is happening? But it's routine to them. So I'll use Marley as an example. She's older now, you know, she has her bike and she used to dance on her own now. But Marley, 9 times out of 10, will have to go to dance. So we'll drop her to dance. When you've been on the road, get your homework done. So if it's not daylight saving, turn the light on, do what you gotta do, get it done. Because when we
car.
get home,
homework in the car. Okay,
it's on.
Right.
So everyone has to have their bath, shower, whatever they get in the night. Lunch should be made. Clothes ironed or pulled out to be ironed. Bags packed. If you have dance tomorrow. This is all the things I say.
Right.
Is your lunch, your shower, is your bag packed for dance, all of that.
Meanwhile, you're cooking dinner. You still have Zara still needs you to physically do for her.
I'm not quite sure.
Well, I don't know exactly. That's a different story because Zara is much older than 2.
But yes, you know, she's pretty demanding.
Yes.
Evenings.
Yeah.
But her dad helps a lot.
There. Right. Right.
So he helps with whatever needs to be done. But you have to be, if I could put the toothpaste on the toothbrushes that night.
Excuse me. So we were on a trip once. And I think at the time you only had, you only had Zai and Shai. And we were coming home the next day on an early flight. And you did have the toothpaste on the toothbrushes. So the cups of water were lined up in the bathroom, toothbrushes out, toothpaste on the toothbrushes, and they were sitting on top of the water. You said so nothing crawled on them, so nothing was able to get to them. Everybody had their shower clothes or iron clothes laid out. All they literally had to do was run and jump into their clothes. And everything, the snacks for the plane, everything, the bags were all packed. There was nothing left to be done but get up, wash your face, clean your teeth, put your clothes on, out the door. And I remember, I don't know where we had been somewhere, but I remember coming out of my hotel room and you were outside in the hallway waiting with your children. Organization is key, isn't it? Organization is key for those of us who don't have children. But when you have children, your organization, I think, stops you from screaming at your children for every little thing, for shouting at them, for losing your patience with them because, oh, where's this? Oh, you have dance today? Oh, where's your dance? Oh, it's in the hamper or it's wherever. And so you know ahead of time what's happening, what's going on tomorrow, and this is what has to be done.
You have to, I can't say you, I can't speak for other people, but I have to be organized. If not, my life is in a shambles.
I could imagine. And it's confusion.
And having to deal with 3 children who all have their own things going on.
Right.
If we don't have some, and it's pretty bad now because since I have turned 40, I've had to put everything in my phone.
Yeah, because you can't remember anymore, right?
I can't, and I don't even try anymore. So everything has to go in my phone.
And so what I admire too about you is that you have all of this stuff going on, but you still find a lot of time to do fun things with your children. It's good balance, I think.
Yes, I don't know where I find the time, but
or the energy.
But for the most part, and anyone who knows me knows wherever you see Shantia, you see her children, right? That's just me. People plan, oh, what party is this weekend that I could go to? Meanwhile, I'm saying, what function is one that I could take the kids to?
Don't have a fun castle.
Right. Everybody has their own thing, but that's just me looking for things to do with them. But
right.
The challenge I have is trying to find time for each one alone. So that's my biggest challenge.
Trying to find time to spend with each one?
Alone.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we'll talk. Do you have the answer for that? We'll talk about it when we come back.
I'll find it.
I mean, you said it's a challenge, but I'm sure some people are looking for that answer, because how do you do it with all that you have going on? So we're talking to Shantia Furbert about parenting with a purpose here on Grown Folk Talk with Patrice. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Blossom Youth Spa, where we encourage young people to blossom into the beautiful beings that they are. We offer manicures, which can include nail stickers and gems, pedicures, which can include a relaxing foot and leg massage, kiddie facials, hair services, which range from basic styles to braiding, and makeup services, which range from basic makeup to birthday bling. We ensure that we use the best products for our clients' skin. We also offer Daddy and Me and Mommy and Me services for that special bonding time. Birthdays are also special to us at Blossom. We offer a glamping spa party experience, which includes beautiful party decor, activities, a fully stocked s'more station, meal services, and so much more. Be sure to visit www.blossomyouthspa.com for services, pricing, and bookings.
This episode of Grown Folk Talk has been brought to you by the following sponsors. We would like to take this opportunity to say thank you. If you would like to support the show, please email or call 535-8829.
Welcome back to Grown Folk Talk with Patrice. We are continuing our conversation on parenting with a purpose, with the parent who parents with a purpose. Yeah. Shantia Furbert, mother of 4. So we talked about all the stuff that you have going on. The question I have is, how do you manage your time? So your significant other, Zara's dad, he requires your time. Zai requires your time either on FaceTime or when he's here. Shania requires your time. Molly requires your time. Zara requires your time. And Shantia requires your time. So how do you manage all of that and stay sane? So I'm sorry. So I would imagine your children, there are gaps in their ages. They want just me and mommy time. So how do you do all of that?
It's very hard. Sometimes it's stressful. I will always do something with everyone at once.
Right.
So that's never an issue. Wherever you see Shantia, you see her children. But when it comes to the individual quality time, it's definitely difficult for me. I have, in recent times, have tried to do little things. And the last time we were all at home, but I had to go to a room for half an hour with one, then switch to the next.
Okay.
And that kind of works out. But being able to physically, if Zara wasn't in the picture, let's eliminate Zara from the picture, it would be easier. Shy's old and all.
Right.
So it'll allow me to do things with Molly, but it is difficult to do things outside of the house.
Right.
With just one person. And then because I have so much to do, so I set 5 alarms. I don't know if anyone else is like me.
You set 5 alarms?
5 alarms get set. Kevin calls me crazy, but...
What do you mean to do what?
To wake up. So it will start at 5:40 and then it will go off again. You hit snooze, it will go off again at 5:50, then 6, then 6:15, then 6:30. By 6:30, I have to be up.
Right.
But 5 alarms I set. So from 5:40, the first alarm, you might as well say I'm up. So I'm up probably until I get home and settled and everyone's in bed, which is the latest 10 o'clock.
Wow.
So by time I do everything I have to do and get in my bed, there's Kevin. Oh, are we going to watch this movie? And I'm like,
Sir.
I love you dearly, but I really just need to close my eyes.
Right. And so you can say, oh yeah, we're going to watch the movie, sure.
And he appears to be understanding, but I know deep down he's probably just ready to strangle me. But it's been times where he's saying, like, you never want to, and it's not that I don't want to sit down and watch this movie or go out and, have time with just him, which we're doing on Saturday, thanks to you.
Yes.
But it's hard because I'm tired.
Yeah. And so he has called me in the past. I would like to take my girlfriend out on a date. Can you keep the children, please?
Because he knows I'm not going to ask.
Right. And the thing is, you can, but you don't, right?
Because in my head, I'm like, no, because if we go out, then I'm thinking about tomorrow, because tomorrow we have to be up early in my organizational skills.
Right.
We have to be up early for that. It's going to work because I'm not going to be up in time. And he's like, will you just stop?
Right. Because there was a time you said that. I said, well, they can go dance from my house, I have beds at my house where you can bring them and leave them, and then they can go to dance from there. But so I get it.
It's just me and my mindset. And I'll use the last time you cap him as an example. He arranged that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I said to you, I'll be there first thing in the morning, because in my head,
right,
people shouldn't have to deal with my children after the fact, so I'm going to get up early, go pick them up, and why did you do that?
Excuse you, I'll tell you that you can come for them. It's no need to come. But I get it, and I appreciate that you don't take people for granted or take advantage, and your mind is always, all right, I'll be there bright and early. No, we're not moving bright and early.
And you've talked about me before, but I send my children with food.
So when she packs her children to go wherever, it's food for the entire neighborhood. So they come with food, they come with clothes ready. If let's say it is dance tomorrow, then the clothes are ready for dance. I don't have to iron or do anything or pack anything. So they come with bags.
Yes, they do.
And everything is there. And what the food say, like, and I said, well, does she think I don't have food in my house? Especially when it's a hurricane. When you used to come during a storm, they would come to my house because she's petrified of hurricanes. And it would be like those bins on wheels with food and all of that, the non-perishables and things like that. So then the organization really kicks in then. So when your children are staying out or staying with people, then it's organization. And so people appreciate that. It's not necessary, but it's appreciated. You know what I mean?
I do. And I think in my head, I chose to have 4 children, not the people I'm giving them to, right? And Kevin and I we don't get at it, but we've had discussions before because, he wings it. That's all he does. He wings it. And he'll be like, oh, we're going to so-and-so's house today. And in my head, I'm having a meltdown and I'm saying, what are we taking? Like, do they know we're bringing all of these children? Because I don't just like to show up or send my children somewhere, all 4 of them.
Right.
And just expect people to do for them and feed them and everything. Not that people... You may have a problem with it, but
we get it.
That's just how I am.
Yeah, of course. And you do. And I mean, if we have family functions, you make sure that you're not just showing up. And if you came without anything, it would be fine. Because you're not going to do it every time. But it is noted. So organization for you has kept you in some semblance of sanity.
It has, and that comes right down to the state of your house. So my children, get your room clean. What is this? What is this mess? Why do I smell last week's lunch? What is going on? And it's to the point now where they get up, they make the beds, the room is tidy, it's clean, because in my head, mess equals stress. Because if I have to jump over this, do that, do the other, then I'm losing my scruples. We washed the other day. We have laundry that I need to fold. That's there, and it's stressing me out, and it's just clean laundry.
Right.
But mass equals stress.
Mass equals stress. So speaking of that, you said, because you sent me some information, you want to tell moms they can't do it all. So you have a chart and a list and responsibilities and things like that. How does that work?
So everyone has a rule in the house, and it really, really started during COVID because I was already stressed. I was on edge. I realized that you can't do it all. So everybody's going to have a role here. So you're cooking breakfast, you're doing lunch, you're doing dinner, you'll do the dishes, you sweep the floor, you clean the bathroom. And then it came into a chart. So we have a chores chart. Does everyone follow it all the time? No, but it gets done.
Right. And so sometimes they don't follow it, and do they get in trouble?
No, because the room will be clean. And I'm like, all
Okay.
right, well, I'll take that. So
Okay. So there's balance. So it's not like just because you didn't fold the socks, but your room's clean, you cooked them, made the lunch or whatever you did. Okay, cool. So you're not expecting them to be perfect.
And I really focus on it on weekends when we have time. During the week, there is no time. There's no, and we're getting home 9 o'clock. I can't expect my children to be, cleaning the whole bathroom at 9
Right.
o'clock when they have homework and stuff to do for the next day. So
Right.
it works out.
So it's all, everybody understands the assignment then.
They understand the assignment, and I understand that I cannot do it all by myself.
Which is smart. So some people do.
Yes.
Some people do, and then they're grumbling about everything
Yes.
instead of assigning their children chores to do.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, this wasn't something that came lightly to me, because I don't know for you, but I can speak for myself. Nobody does something the way that you do it.
Right.
So the children, Zara's 2 and she wants to fold clothes.
Yes, I've seen Zara's
Folding clothes
before.
is literally rolling it up into a ball and putting it her. So,
Right.
I have to be proud of her for her
Yes.
wanting to do
Yes.
it, but deep down I'm screaming because I'm like, that's not how you do it. So, when she turns her head, I'll just whip it together
Right,
and put
exactly.
it down. But if they sweep the floor and it's not the way I want it, I'll just sweep it again. So.
Because some people
Or I'll
do.
get them to come back and be like, maybe you should sweep braid her.
Right, yeah, and some people do that. Some people will do, I don't want anybody to do anything because they don't do it how I want it done. And then they grumble because they're
They're doing too
stressed and
much.
tired and they have too much to do and nobody's helping me and I have to do everything around here. That's what people do. So assign your children their chores and responsibilities and let them know that's what you expect. It's not an option.
No. And reward them. If you if you reward them, as I did initially, here's some change, then it motivates them to want to do it, and eventually they do it.
Okay. And do they always get rewarded or is it?
It depends, because if you asked for ABC last week, that's your reward.
Oh, okay. And so now running the spa, your children also work at the spa, including Zara.
Including the boss.
So the boss, Zara the boss. So that's something you do together as well. So it's a
Yes.
kids spa. So everybody, you all have your uniforms. You go down there, and everybody has their role at the spa.
Yes.
So that's spending time together, as well as teaching them about entrepreneurship, about responsibilities, right, and about interacting with people and things. What else? What else has?
Personal hygiene.
Okay. Personal hygiene.
The spa, definitely. I can't even say the spa. For my children, it was before the spa, but personal hygiene is big for me, right? So the spa, when I thought about doing this idea, I was like, you know what? I'm really going to drive in this personal hygiene stuff, because I have 3 girls and a son. I don't really have to tell him.
Right.
I have a few stories about him.
When he was younger.
But personal hygiene for me is big. Appearance has always been something.
Talk to me about that. How important is appearance
It's very
for your
important to me,
children?
because I really, really, really get upset when I see children, and I don't want to call them scruffy, but I see children who look the way that they shouldn't. But then I see the parents, and it's the complete opposite of what I see in the child.
Parents are tight. Parents are.
You will never
the
see me looking
nines.
better than my children, ever.
We will never see you looking better
Never.
than your children.
Never.
That's interesting.
And as old as my children are, if you were in my house every morning, you will hear me. Do you have deodorant on? Did you put lotion on? Did you brush your teeth? Let me see your teeth. What's going on with your hair right here? Because I cannot. When they leave the house, They're
representing you. We've heard that all our lives. Yes. I heard that as a little girl.
So one sock is shorter than the other. Either change them or pull it up or something. That's how petty I am. Call me petty if you want, but it's big for me. I honestly, I can't deal with children who look as if they're not being taken care of. And that could be part of me, part of it could be me being a police officer too, right? And just knowing what should take place and what doesn't take place.
Right.
But I can't.
Especially when they are not a hair out of place, dressed to the nines, all the latest, everything.
Her nails, lashes, you name it, is on, and then there's your child. And it's like, why? So I opened this spa in hopes that, we offer hair services, we offer little men pedis, get our toes and nails right, and just make them feel special.
Right. It's all part of parenting and taking pride and instilling pride in your children. And as you know, your children are getting older now and you're still on them about that. You're still on them. And it's not, you're not, hammering them, but you're, sometimes it's like, let me see those teeth. You clean, let me see. You go back and clean them. It's not harsh. It's not, it's made fun. But they know that you mean it.
Yes, and they will know that you have to take care of yourself.
Yes,
you have to.
Right, and sometimes it seems like parents are afraid to parent. But we'll talk about that when we come back. We are continuing our conversation of parenting with a purpose with Shantia. We'll come back on Grown Folk with Patrice.
Hands-on therapy. Our mission is to provide a holistic approach to physiotherapy by treating the cause of your symptoms and taking into consideration all aspects of a patient's being. We aim to bring you the best quality care and best possible outcome with our passion and knowledge. Call 232-3244 or visit handsontherapy.com.
Welcome to Blossom Youth Spa, where we encourage young people to blossom into the beautiful beings that they are. We offer manicures, which can include nail stickers and gems, pedicures, which can include a relaxing foot and leg massage, kiddie facials, hair services, which range from basic styles to braiding, and makeup services, which range from basic makeup to birthday bling. We ensure that we use the best products for our clients' skin. We also offer Daddy and Me and Mommy and Me services for that special bonding time. Birthdays are also special to us at Blossom. We offer a glamping spa party experience, which includes beautiful party decor, activities, a fully stocked s'more station, punch, nail services, and so much more. Be sure to visit www.blossomyouthspa.com for services, pricing, and bookings.
This episode of Grown Folk Talk has been brought to you by the following sponsors. We would like to take this opportunity to say thank you. If you would like to support the show, please email or call 535-8829.
Welcome back to Grown Folk Talk with Patrice and Shantia. Talking about parenting with a purpose. This is some good stuff.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I mean, parenting with a purpose, parenting is not easy, but by the sounds of things, you just have to be intentional about how you're parenting.
Definitely.
And as we went out, we talked about the fact that it appears to parent. Mm-hmm. So parents are busy thinking or treating their children sometimes like they are their friends. What's your thought on that?
I don't like that. And that's not something that I was allowed to do when I was younger. I know I had to leave rooms when the adults were talking or something was going on. My mama would just look at me and I knew, okay, it's time to leave. Because this conversation clearly isn't for me. So it's the same with my children. It's not to say that we don't have, jokes and conversations and friendly type banter, but they know that I'm the boss and I mean business.
Right. Oh, they know you're the boss.
They know I'm the boss.
We know that
Let me
you're the
rephrase
boss.
that. Everyone but Zara.
Except
knew.
Zara, because Zara's
That I
divorced, so she thinks
she's still learning.
She's about to find out.
She's still learning. I'll give it till she's 4.
Right. She's about to find out.
Yeah, but they knew what they can. They know what they can and cannot do.
Right. And you like you said, you make it fun, too.
Yes.
You know, Zai will call long distance, call on FaceTime and say some smart stuff, but he's not disrespectful, but it's always said in jest, it's always a joke. And he said to me one time, my mama will come through my phone. I know, she'll come through my phone and grab me. Like he knows the joke part of it, they know the serious side of it. So for you, like that type of parenting can kind of backfire if they are treating their children like they're their friends and they're including them in conversations and they're not punishing them, or not necessarily punishing them, but they're not holding them accountable for bad behavior. That can't turn out well.
Not at all. You have to hold them accountable for anything that they do. And we go back to making excuses. Don't make excuses for them. Hold them accountable. Hold yourself accountable. If you as a parent do something or say something and you come to find out what you did or said is wrong, apologize. I've had to apologize to my children before. I know I said A, B, C, and D, but in reality, I found out that this didn't take place or this didn't happen, so I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. Because one of the questions I had for you was, do you ever get it wrong? Do you ever get parenting wrong?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
I've been told in my job never to assume, right? You never assume. So I don't like to assume. So I always ask questions and I keep it real with all of my children. So I just come straight out. Right. A, B, or C. It has to be one of them. And sometimes it's D.
Right. Okay. So you have a conversation.
Yes.
You have the conversation.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's impossible for parents to always get it right, but I believe people do most times the best they know how with what they have and what they knew at the time. So you've said, when you get it wrong, then you go back and apologize. So that's teaching your children too, that we're going to get things wrong, but when we do, we apologize for it.
And I'm taking accountability for my actions.
And taking accountability for your actions and teaching them to do the same thing. So what do you want for your children?
The best. I want them to become millionaires. I can retire and live
yes, throw me in there too. They're my retirement plan.
Yes. Yeah. I really just want them to be whatever it is they wish to be. To take in everything that I have instilled in them over the last, we'll start with 20 years. To always be respectful, to always be kind, use your manners, and just do everything I taught you.
Yes, and to make you proud.
Yes,
to make you proud. And your children have accomplished some things in their early years.
Boy.
They have in school they've done a lot. So Elliot as their deputy head boy, their Gold House captain, and Shy left as head girl, left Elliot as head girl and Gold House captain. Molly is, didn't pick,
I'm still waiting for that
girl this year. This is her last year in Elliot, but she wrote in for it, you write in for it, and they've been all on honor roll and always.
She's Gold House captain.
And I'm sorry, and Molly's Gold House captain, and she was the P5 champion girl. Shy left as champion girl. Zai was champion boy at one point, but academically they've all done well, and you show up. You always show up. You and they know that Mama doesn't play, but Mama is also always there for us.
Always there.
Always.
Anything that's going on. I will call myself. I may have some competition, but I will definitely call myself their biggest fan. Right? I'm their biggest fan.
Excuse you.
I know they have some competition, but and yes, and they have family support when it comes to anything that they do. But
they know you're there.
Oh, definitely. I'm there, and I don't play, because if I got a call from your teacher or an email, I'm there.
Right.
I'm there.
You're there for whatever, if anything is going on.
And I've made teachers, okay, she wants to talk in class, okay, bring her desk right here, and this is what's going to happen.
Yes,
and people say, well, how do your children do so well in school? That's because I'm on them. Did you get your homework done? Did you do this? Did you do that?
Yeah, and so you have not tried to paint them as perfect because, like you said, teacher said, "Oh, talking in class." So you said, "Okay, move the desk right there." Not my child.
I show up and say,
so
they don't want me at their school. So what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna do what they have to do.
And nothing could be worse, I would imagine, than your mama on a police bike, in police boots. Showing up at your school.
Zara, she got off easy.
She got off easy because you're no longer on the bike. You're not doing So, but the others, they knew it, and so you have not done them a disservice. People, I think, what I get from parenting is you do your children a disservice when you don't hold them accountable, when you don't admonish them, when you don't punish them in whatever style suits you. And some people may spank their children, some people may punish them, some people may take away whatever it is that they're using, their devices and all of that, but whatever it is, but you do your children a disservice, I think, and set them up for failure in the real world when you make excuses for their bad behavior, when you make excuses for them not speaking or what they don't do or whatever the case is. And so they take that with them. Whatever you instill in them is what they take with them. So if it's making excuses, then that's what we do. We make excuses in life. If it's holding myself accountable, then that's what we do. We hold ourselves accountable. If it's you are about your word, if you say you're going to show up, you do it, then that's what they take in life. And so people may look at you and say, "Oh my gosh, she has this easy." It's not easy.
It's definitely not.
It's work.
It's work.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Because we talked about all the people who need your time, but you need your time too. So how do you spend time with you? Do you have a minute or two?
Oddly enough, I had 3 hours on Sunday, but you should have seen me. I didn't know what to do with my life.
Right.
And every 6 seconds, what is she doing? What are they doing? They haven't called me, they haven't messaged me, and it was just no me time, because in my head it's just running one thing.
Well, you have to find it. You have to make it. You have to not find it. You make the you time, because you deserve it as well. It's all right to be, this great mother and employee and entrepreneur and all of that, but you need you time as well. And so don't be afraid. This is for all parents. Don't be afraid to ask people to help you. Like, as far as, okay, I want to go to the spa myself today. So would you get, not that you don't, but you know what I mean? Don't feel bad about it and shut everything down. Says the one with no children. I'm just saying, if I were a mother, that's probably what I would be doing. Right. Yeah. What parting words do you have? Not necessarily parting, but some words of wisdom for parents. You've said a lot. But just to tie it all in, well, before that, let me ask you this. What will make you lose sleep when it comes to your children?
Ooh. Not hearing from my child on her bike.
Oh, yeah. So
she's going with her friends, and it's 8:00, and she has to be in by 9, and I haven't heard from her, and these streets are reckless, so that... I don't know. It's hard. It's a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Anything will make me lose sleep.
Right. Yeah.
As far as they're concerned.
Of course, because you have the different ages, different personalities, different activities, and different requirements from them. And so some may not be bothered by things as the others are. And so, right. It's, So, okay. All right. So what do you need to say? Last words to
Last
parents.
words. So parenting, as we know, is not easy. Not everyone has family support. Not everyone has everything that they need and want to parent, but you have to make a way. I'm very creative in how I parent. I don't know it all. I don't can pull ideas out of a hat. I spend a lot of time on Pinterest. I spend a lot of time on Instagram. I got a lot of ideas from just watching stuff and putting it into place. So just because you don't have things doesn't mean it's not ways that you can do things in a way to make it fun for yourself and your children when it comes to parenting.
Great advice. Great advice. So we continue to look out for some tips from you. Please share with me. You can send it to me and I can post or whatever the case is, because we need to continue this.
Yes.
So thank you so much,
No problem.
my darling niece, for coming on and sharing with us Parenting with a Purpose. I hope that you have shed some light on parenting for people who wonder how you do it.
I hope so. I get asked every day, by the way.
I'm sure you do.
How do you do it? Sometimes I don't have the answer.
I see your posts sometimes on social media and people will say, you're a great mother. How do you do it? Or I can't even get my child to do this or that. And then we see too that you spend time, you invest time with your children.
Yes.
That's key as well. Mm-hmm. So keep up the great work. We are proud of you. Keep it up. And we are looking forward to great things from your children. Thank you so much for joining us. And Shantia Furbert, the mom of 4, who has been parenting with a purpose for almost 20 years.
That's right.
Yeah. So 2-year-old up to 20-year-old. So a lot of purpose has gone into that parenting. So thank you so much for sharing your parenting journey with us. And it will continue. Thank you for joining us on Grown Folk Talk with Patrice.
Hands-on therapy. Our mission is to provide a holistic approach to physiotherapy by treating the cause of your symptoms and taking into consideration all aspects of a patient's being. We aim to bring you the best quality care and best possible outcome with our passion and knowledge. Call 232-3244 or visit handsontherapy.com.
Intimacy, love, dating, marriage, romance, companionship, and breakup. Everything is on the table. It's Relationship Theory with Tina Laws.
Welcome back to Relationship Theory with your host, Tina Laws. And today we have an amazing woman, a superwoman, LaWanda Ball. And today we're going to be talking a bit about life after divorce and what does it look like? You know, oftentimes people fall down and don't know how to get back up. So today Ms. Ball's just going to share a little bit about her experience, and I'm going to let her take the lead right now and just tell us something briefly about who you are.
Well, of course, my name is LaWanda Ball. I'm 50 years old, young. And just a little bit about me, I have 2 children. Been married twice, divorced twice, and the second has been an awesome journey, an awesome experience of just learning about LaWanda.
Yes, I love it. And she really is learning about LaWanda. The good thing is I know her and we talk quite often. And so I thought she would be a perfect person because she has persevered what many people can't persevere in. And so today I just wanted to briefly talk about us, you and I, LaWanda girl, like nobody's even watching us. Just talk about your journey and what it looked like when your first divorce and what it looks like now after your second divorce, the healing process and the way in which you got to where you are today, all of those things. So let's go back a little bit on your first marriage, just a little snapshot of the situation.
My snapshot of my first marriage, basically, you know, you fall in love, you thought everything was great, you go along and then you hit a roadblock, and it just got boring. Try to communicate, try to say what's happening, and then you do the ultimate and you fall down. Once that happened, I fell, but it was like at the end of the day, it's like life goes on. I divorced the first time, and you know, because you think that it's all about them. But then I looked in the mirror at myself. It was like, wait a minute, you played a role. So it made it easier to heal because I took ownership of my part in it. Then moving along to number 2, again, you think everything is going along great. And this time the role reversed.
Yes.
He divorced me. And again, it's looking at the mirror, it's like, okay, well, at the end of the day, I still had a friendship. And that's how I looked at the first marriage. It's like friendship first. And as I got married as friends, I also divorced as friends. So just again, looking in the mirror, taking the ownership of my role, it was easier to heal.
So let's go back a bit to your first marriage, and the role that you played, as well as having a family in that situation. For many watching, you know, many have been in first, second, third, and fourth marriages, you know, and it doesn't make people bad, or it doesn't make somebody, you know, a person a risk. It just speaks to, okay, you're the common denominator. So in both marriages, so what do I now have to do differently, or have I even recognized what I need to do differently? And so I think from your first marriage, you mentioned that you learned a lot more than you learned before you got in your second marriage. And then you got in your second marriage and it was like, okay, roles reversed. He divorced me. So, you know, and so walking away from both of those marriages, I know you've had a lot of time to reflect, and you're doing a lot of self-care, self-love, everything self right now. But what's one of the things that you recognize from both marriages that you believe you played a part in?
Communication. The lack of. My first marriage, it was being afraid to speak how I felt because of childhood trauma of being shouted at. I didn't know it was okay to think or feel different. So, of course, when you do go to talk and that male voice is sterner than yours, I shut down. So that's where it broke the communication. So going into my second, I would make sure, I wanted to make sure that I talked and wanted to express, but I think I was a little bit more dominant in expressing. So it wasn't allowing him to be himself and taking over the communication piece. So that was major.
One of the things I highlight with you, and I thought you're such a, you know, and I still think you're such an amazing woman, is that I find many times when when we're married, or even not just even married or divorced, but walking away from relationships, you know, we tend to blame the other person. And one of the things I admire about you is that, you know, you're always willing to say, okay, what can I do better? Not necessarily where did I go wrong, but what can I do better so that next time around, or, you know, I don't know, you know, anything is possible. But, you know, hey, God, all things are possible. But, you know, we just don't know. But the next time around, how do I navigate whereby I don't not talk enough or talk too much? I find a medium. And so what do you have to say about that?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because my medium is listening, adding nothing. So yes, communicate, but also allow them to communicate and understand from their communication and let them speak. Because what I would do is basically cut it off before they finish, thinking I know the rest. So now I don't know, and I will continue to learn. So it's just a matter of listening to understand versus listening to reply.
And a lot of women say that. I didn't even let them finish because I already know what he's going to say. And as we all know, as women, all of us women out here, you know, a lot of times we do the same thing with our children. We finish their conversation. And when it comes to our relationships, our partner, we're supposed to be partners, right? We tend to take the mother role. In a weird way, we tend to finish the conversation. And they're like, well, okay, you got the answers. Well, why do I have to answer? And so for you and for many out there who are probably still in relationships like this, take a lesson from this. We have to not just talk, but listen, and listen with the understanding that what am I going to take away from this versus whatever. Let me just hear what he's got to say, and then I'm going to tell him what I think. You know. And so moving through that, LaWanda, you also have two amazing children. So, you know, you walked away from your first marriage. How was that challenging to your children? And if so, what was the challenges, if you wish to share?
That's fine. The challenges, yes, it was challenging, because with my first, it was my second child's father. And she was a teenager. And of course, at the beginning, she played that role of, let's see which one I can get over. But I didn't wish to share at the beginning, but I knew one day I would have to sit down and tell her my side of the story. And when that happened, it just opened up a total different relationship for us, because of course I got the blame for the divorce, of course, and because I was the one that divorced. So once I had the conversation, though, like I said, it just opened up for her to actually understand that things do happen, things can go wrong, it's not always perfect, and know how to navigate through this traumas.
And then how did your son manage it first time?
The first, in actual fact, when I moved out, I left him there. And I think he felt abandoned at first. But he was older, so I thought. And I thought that he would be okay. But I left him with someone that really wasn't his father, he was his stepfather. So learning that and having the conversation once I did get my own apartment and having that conversation with him, it was helpful. And what I did is to conversate with him as well and just to share the same thing, because he didn't understand what happened as well. So having the conversation with him, he was a little older. And him being a man, he had lots of questions. And that conversation, like I said, me and my children are now like this.
I know.
So it was a transition, but the thing is that I let him know that I would never ever leave him in that space ever again. Again, listening versus being the parent of do what I say, not as I do.
I love it. I love it. And the other thing is, so now, okay, you walk away, your children are functioning, okay, mom and dad and stepdad, you know, they're separated. So now we're functioning as mother, son, and daughter. And here comes hobby number 2, sweeps mommy off her feet. How does that look?
Well, of course, they were in that stage of, they just wanted mommy to be happy. So whatever mommy said was okay. So at the end of the day, again, having that conversation and them knowing when he was ready, he had a conversation. So it made it a little easier for when we did make that decision.
Yes. And you know what? We'll be right back on that note. Don't go anywhere.
Relationship Theory. We'll be right back after these messages.
Are you looking for an event coordinator or filming crew for a live television broadcast? Search no more. Gino Crimson is at your service, specializing in international 3D graphics, event. We offer a product second to none. A combination of 2 well-known production companies, Gino Group and Crimson Multimedia, together bring more than 20 years of experience in production of local and international ad campaigns and television broadcast programming. Specializing in national sporting events, Gino Crimson is also known for the full production of the annual Sports Awards, Kappa Classics Live pay-per-view boxing events, the general and municipal elections, the T-Talk Show, Cut Match Classic, and much more. Providing the best of the island's skilled production crew, we organize an amazing network of camera operators, directors, vision mixers, on-camera hosts, sports anchors, and beauty consultants, all while using the latest in production equipment for a high-quality live television broadcast. Gino Crimson. Our vision is to make your request a reality, and we would be happy to be a part of your next event.
Everything is on the table. It's Relationship Theory with Tina Laws.
Welcome back to Relationship Theory with your host, Tina Laws, and our amazing guest, LaWanda Bowl. And before we went on break, we talked a little bit about her first and second divorce and how she felt, how her children felt. And we was on her second divorce and how her children felt at that point. We already heard how they felt after the first divorce. And knowing that you got remarried, mommy, they just wanted you to be happy. To find out now, mom is going through this experience all over again. And, you know, children, they think about it way differently from how we're looking at it, because you're going through your own situation. Before we talk about how you managed it, how did your children fare?
There, I think, well, with my daughter, her fear was stability. Because with being with her dad for so long, and then this new guy, she was feeling unstable. So just speaking to her, and when we separated and I moved up my mom's, I guess with the having my mom and me, and then her brother, who also, we all work, she felt stable again.
Yes.
So when my second husband said that he is going to divorce, and I moved out and got my own apartment, and the three of us are now having to be with each other again, it was a transition of learning us again, just the three of us. And it became, where now she is going 20, we're all adults.
Yes.
So now we are so open and we talk about everything that it just is so, the knit is like, I don't think anybody can break that knit. And from their, I guess, thinking, because when the divorce happened, they sat me down.
Yes.
And they was like, we don't want you to go through this ever again. So it was like seeing it through their eyes made me look at it even more so of self.
Yes. I love it, LaWanda. I love it, love it, love it. So let's talk a little bit about, so we know how your children feel and how they felt along the way. How did you feel? Because on break we talked a bit about how you were really blaming yourself. Now, we talked earlier about, you know, you was able to pinpoint, it was communication. You knew what role you played in both divorces. But let's go back again before we can come back forward. Let's talk about how you truly felt when you knew you was getting a divorce the first time and second.
Both sides, it looked at, I really did blame myself. And I beat myself up really bad until one day I just looked in the mirror and I said, it's not just me. There is accountability for choices, but I also looked at it that there are roles that you play within a marriage. And I looked at my role, and instead of blaming myself, I just took accountability for the choices that I made that I could have made differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And as it relates to the choices you made, you know, what did that prompt in you? You know, moving forward now, we know who you are, but when you were in that spot, what were some of the things that helped you to recognize, hold up, I'm not at fault here, and I do have a choice moving forward? What are some of the things that you did?
Well, I like I said, I did a lot of self-reflecting. I looked at, for every action there's a reaction. So I started to practice on my own reactions to stuff. And not everything's done at you.
Yes.
And not everything's done to you. So I just learned to react to different things differently. Because we've all had childhood dramas that we carry.
Yes.
And for me, I would say a few years ago, I started that journey on self, and I started to look at how LaWanda became LaWanda. So the different choices that I was making was based off of how LaWanda would have acted at 13, how LaWanda would have acted at 18, and looked at it from that aspect that, wait a minute, you're an adult. So it's not about, okay, well, I did this because of this. Because at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility that you could have chose a different way. So again, it's just for me was practicing on the reactions to stuff and not reacting bitterly.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of us being able to recognize the reactions or anything that we need to do differently is we have to go to the stem of it, right? The root. Where did it come from? And you mentioned earlier the childhood drama, and traumas, the things in which affected you. And so what allowed you to say, you know what, you was able to reflect and say, you know what, this is something I did when I was a young girl as a result of A, B, C, and D. So when did you sit back and say, hold up, I'm actually operating as though I'm still that 8-year-old, having to be liked or having to be obedient or whatever the reasons are?
Correct. So that's exactly it. Those were the reasons. I became that people pleaser, not knowing that that's what I was doing because of the childhood traumas that I went through. So learning those pieces, it helped me to take a step back and say, hold on, you don't have to say yes. You can say no. But it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So how it lands on the other person was a big thing for me because at the end of the day, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Because you can speak how you feel, but it's how you say it and how it's received.
And we know we cannot control how people receive anything, right? That's one thing we do know. As much as you try to say, I really didn't mean it that way, they've already received it, so you might as well just let that go. So as we talk about your childhood and leading up to your first marriage and your second marriage, would you say there were any differences in the ways in which you presented yourself as a result of your childhood traumas or dramas?
Correct. So with the first one, and I didn't know about half the stuff because it was after that divorce that had me to take a step back and look at some of those things. So of course, going into marriage number 2, there were some things that I recognized as they happened. It's like, okay, you don't have to act, you don't have to react, and it's not the little girl anymore. It's the adult. So with doing that in between the marriages, it helped me to look at the second marriage differently.
And what's one of the things you'll say you did differently from, I know you mentioned about being more of a vocal person in your second marriage. You were no longer going to sit and allow anybody to tell you anything. You're going to beat them to it. You're going to start it and end it, and don't just give them a little bit in the middle. What's some of the other things you learned from your first marriage going into your second?
Like I said, it's just a matter of listening to them. Like I said, it was sort of kind of listening, but not listening. So the difference was, like I said, it was like I spoke up and it helped. But again, it didn't help because I spoke up just a tad bit too much.
And you talked about being a people pleaser, right? So let's talk about your second marriage. When you went into your second marriage, although you are now more vocal, you're still that person that wanted to please. Right? And so what's one of the things you'll say that you found that was kind of a clash, I guess, as it relates to your ex-husband and his wanted to express himself, but he knew he could probably minimally express himself, and you'll finish it. But what's another area in your marriage that you saw like, wow, I'm overly trying to please this man?
Well, I overly please in every area, so that's why it's sort of kind of difficult to pinpoint exactly which one, because I wanted to please. I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to leave me, that he wasn't going to, not be happy. So I tried to do everything to make him happy, but again, the dominance of the communication and not allowing him to be him per se, because when you join together, as they say, you join together and be one, but it's not when you're standing there. It takes work, it takes time, it takes growing, and it was at the end of the day, like I said, it's just that I know the communication piece really was like I said, I made sure I didn't not say how I felt because I didn't want to be in the same predicament as the first. But then again, it was just overly communicated.
What would you say now you're in your second marriage? And most of us, you get married once, you want it to work, right? And so now in your second marriage, your children not wanting you to ever go through that again. I knew they said that after this one. But what were some of the things that you think you compromised to stay in that marriage, even though you saw it probably going downhill as a result of the communication or whatever else? What are some of the things you compromised to stay in that relationship?
I compromised my values. I compromised the things that I like to do. I compromised just myself, you know, not being completely authentic with myself. I wanted to just be everything about him and for him. So yeah, I compromised everything.
So you'll say you kind of lost yourself in him.
Correct.
So that's part of, let's going back to the beginning when we talked about your first marriage and second marriage, and now how amazing you have become as a result. One of the things you'll say is that you lost yourself in that in both relationships, one way or the other. So let's talk a little bit about how you started to climb out of that hill of pleasing, and although you're always going to be that person, I'm sure, but how did you climb out of that hill?
Climbing out of that hill, I actually became a people person versus a people pleaser.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Relationship Theory. We'll be right back after these messages.